Set in the 90s, the story begins with a wealthy man in his 50s who is looking at the videos of his wife's daily activities, which were being tracked by a detective. His wife is about 24 years younger than him. The detective tells him that she has come out clean and there is no reason for him to suspect her, and he should perhaps try marriage counseling. However, he remained unconvinced and tells him he would find someone else better than him. The detective tells him that he would only be wasting his money. He then consults another detective. The other detective looks at his wife's photo and tells him that he does sympathize with him. The rich man tells him the other detectives he met before were supposed to be the best in the town, but couldn't give him proof of his wife cheating on him. He asks the detective that how would he be better than them. Hearing this, the detective tells him that while the others specialized in fraud and embezzling, but he specializes in cases of infidelity. He tells him the others were insensitive to his suspicions and were doing work only for money. The detective asks him if his wife has recently started dressing up nicely when leaving the house, or if she has been shunning his advances, both of which are signs of infidelity. The man admits that he hasn't noticed and decides to investigate further. When he meets his wife later, he finds that the detective's suspicions might be somewhat accurate and decides to track his wife through the detective. After a week, the detective shows him some photos of his wife. The rich man notes that the photos are similar to the ones provided by the other detective, not showing her caught in any act of infidelity. However, the detective presents two photos. One, of his wife entering a church, and another, of her leaving it. He asks the rich man to observe the expression on his wife's face after she left the church. The rich man sees that she seems very happy, but it doesn't explain much, as she goes to the church daily. The detective questions why a young woman like her would want to go to church every day. The rich man explains that she is Irish, and that's why she goes to church regularly. The detective laughs and asks if she genuinely goes as part of her customs, or if she just told him that it was part of her customs. The man admits he has no idea. The detective then shows him a picture of the church priest, who is a relatively young man. He tells the rich man that this man is a radical, and he was removed from his last job for disobeying with the Pope's views on contraception. He suggests that the rich man compare the pictures of his wife and the priest and then decide for himself. The rich man looks at the pictures and becomes confused. The rich man then says he doesn't believe it, and the detective asks him to check it out in person. The rich man goes to the church and meets the priest. When the priest asks how he can help, the rich man says he just wanted to check out the church since he is new to the town. The priest welcomes him and mentions that the church always welcomes people and helps them deal with issues like infidelity, abortions, divorce, etc. The rich man asks if such things aren't considered sins at the church, to which the priest replies that he likes to create a suitable atmosphere for everyone at the church, and that he prefers to accept people for who they are rather than condemn them. The priest then prepares to leave to hear a confession, but before that, the rich man notices his cassock and asks why he doesn't wear a suit instead. The priest replies that the cassock is more comfortable and might also come in handy sometime. The rich man then sees that it was his wife who was waiting at the church for a confession. He shudders at the thought of his wife cheating on him with the priest in the confession box. The rich man goes back to the detective and confirms his suspicions. The detective suggests that it might be time to consult a lawyer, but the rich man insists that he just wants his wife back. The detective hints that what the rich man really wants is the priest dead. Hearing this, the rich man admits that he does want the priest dead and that he wants his wife to witness it. The detective tells him it can be arranged, but it will cost $50,000 for him and another $50,000 for the hitman, all in advance. The rich man hesitates, questioning if the detective thinks he's foolish enough to pay that much up front. The detective urges him to reconsider, given that he has been stressful of late. With no other option, the rich man agrees. The detective instructs him to leave the money in a locker in a specified location and forget about the detective and his place. The hitman could strike any time, so the rich man should try to mingle with the society and forget everything else and not return back to the place. The rich man asks when the priest will be killed, to which the detective replies that it could happen anytime, within a week or even a month, but it will happen. The rich man leaves the money in the designated locker as instructed. A few weeks later, he passes by the church and sees a sign announcing that the priest will be giving a sermon that Sunday. Concerned, he goes to the detective's place but finds it empty. He checks the locker and finds that the money is gone. Believing he has been deceived, the rich man decides to confront his wife all by himself. He goes to the church, disguises himself as the priest, and sits in the confession room, waiting for his wife. When she arrives, he mimics the priest's voice and asks her to confess her sins. His wife confesses that she has failed in her duties as a wife and has been lying to her husband. When he asks what she lied about, she reveals that her mother died giving birth to her, which is why she is afraid of getting pregnant. She didn't tell this to her husband, fearing he wouldn't understand. This was the reason she often shunned his advances. He asks if that's all she has to confess and nothing more. She confirms that's all there is to it. Hearing this, the rich man realizes he was wrong about his wife all along. He steps out of the confession room, shocking his wife. He feels relieved that his suspicions were unfounded and that his wife never cheated on him. Suddenly, the hitman appears. The rich man quickly tells him that he's not the priest, but the one who hired him, and that he no longer requires his services. However, the hitman does not believe him and shoots him, killing him in front of his wife, and then leaves. The story ends with the rich man dead and his wife mourning his death. If you like the video, then hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and do follow us on Facebook and Instagram.